have these stats. What gear upgrade piece should I... You know, that's either chat can answer it or just hold off for a little bit. I'm going to tell you one of my top 25 stories of my life. Back when I think I was about 11, maybe 12 years old. I was merely a pocket knife at the time. A lot of things happened when I was just a mere pocket knife, you guys. But when I was in 5th grade, right, a couple years even before this story really gets going, I was 10 years old, and people would bring their Pokemon cards to school. And you're really cool whenever you had more Pokemon cards, right? You had like your little stack of Pokemon cards. We'd go over at recess and be like, oh my god, he has this many, and this other guy has this many cards, and we'd look at them and stuff, and just parents were buying the kids cards, and it's just kind of what we're really into. And so that was 5th grade. Definitely enjoyed it. I got like a couple packs and stuff, and not really too many of them. Well, over the summer, what eventually happened was we were kind of worried about Y2K, right? We're like, well, Y2K is probably gonna hit here. This is, you know, what are we gonna do about all this? And we ended up taking the money out of the bank because nobody really knows. If you guys were, some of you probably weren't even alive in the year 2000, right? Well, the idea was whenever the clocks and the banks and the computers all rolled over on the century, everybody thought all the data would be wiped. They're like, all the banks are going to be erased, missiles are going to fire everywhere. It was this crazy shenanigans time, right? Like, well, I mean, it can't hurt to be safe, so pulled my life savings out at the time, which was about like $348 or something along those lines. Wasn't that much, and we ended up putting it in the suitcase storage compartment of my closet. So inside the closet, there's another little tiny room, basically, and you could open this door. You could open the door. Oh wow, that's a good item. You could open the door. I crawled in there, right? And inside this, it was underneath the attic stairs, and over to the right, you would actually be able to look down and see over the stairs. So there's like, inside this tiny little door room, there was this big place that I could kind of crawl around, and I had like the fort in there with flashlights and stuff, and it was kind of cool. So at this point, I put the money in there as my parents suggested. They said, put all of your money, you know, in your closet, you know, don't touch it, and you know, once all of this blows over, we'll put it back in the banks. So there's this one really hard to reach like section of this cubby, and I put all of the bills in there. It's just like a stack of bills, you know. There were some 10s, some 20s, stuff like that, and there it was, and it just stayed there, and it was great. And you know, in school, or I can't remember, I guess this was summer, right? Yeah, at the end of 5th grade, going into 6th grade and stuff. So I was all excited about Pokemon cards, and from 5th grade to 6th grade, what I basically did every day in the summer, I took my BMX bike and I drove uptown. I called it Uptown. Cool little area. There were coffee shops, there's a pizzeria, you know, there's a place to get Dr. Pepper in the pizzeria. Under the pizzeria, not under the pizzeria, okay, so next to the pizzeria was a trading card shop. And under that, in the basement, was a place to play. It's really cool. The top was like a retail card stop or shop, and the bottom they had like these tables, and they had like the Pokemon crew, right, of Uptown. They were the in Pokemon players. Like, they didn't just have their Gengars and Bulbasaurs. They were dropping Charizards on you like you didn't even know. It was the place to be. So, you know, down there we would play the cards and stuff. Now, what I ended up doing over the summer is I would take my bike, I'd go up, and I might get a slice of pizza if I had a couple bucks in my pocket or something, and I would either hang out with my friends doing trading card stuff, or I'd hang out with my other friends that were BMXing. Because also behind the graveyard, we had this whole like little dirt BMX route that we did. It was really fun. It was like the best day as a kid, honestly, just looking back. Biking uptown, hanging out, food, groups of friends, you either got your card shops, you got your bike trails, pizza. It was awesome. So I basically just grabbed my bike and I went uptown pretty much every day. And you know, I was hanging out with you know, the people that just could beat me in Pokemon, and it's like, oh man, I want to get a little better, and so I buy a booster pack, stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, let's go ahead and get this booster pack going. So I would buy a booster pack, you know how the excitement of you open the thing up, is this a holographic card? Is it not? And it's like, sweet, all right, it's a Blastoise or whatever. You get all excited, and I really liked this feeling. I was like, man, this is, what is it? What is it gonna be? This is great. So I bought another one, and another one, and a couple more. And so I started getting to the habit of, I ran out of money. So I ran out of money. I was like, well, okay, in my wallet, right? At this point, I was like, I need to get some more. I was like, well, I got my bank account, right? You know, after 4 booster packs, that was the 20 I had for pizza all week. I'm like, let me just, yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money in the bank. That's probably fine. So I open up the doors and I crawl in there. And I like reach around. I can barely see it. I can barely reach it basically. And I end up just like feeling for the top bill, and I grab it. I'm like, okay, so this is good. And I take my bike. I go back uptown, get another slice of pizza, and I buy some more cards. And it was really good. I had a decent collection. I really enjoyed this whole encounter. You know, it was pretty fun and all that stuff. Just a really good time. Well, I would do that day after day after day, and then at one point, you guys, I reach up there trying to get another bill, and there's nothing. There's just the shelf. I was like, oh my god. Now my little 10, 11-year-old whatever heart pretty much skipped a beat at this point. I realized, all right, I am in so much trouble. I just spent my life savings on Pokemon cards. Like, I had a lot of cards and stuff, but I just kept buying a booster a day throughout the summer, or a couple, I don't know. But I spent all of my money not noticing that I just grabbed like a $10 bill, and I went up there, I grabbed a $20 bill, and I was full on panicked. There was nobody to say don't panic. I was panicked. It's like, my parents are gonna kill me. There will be nothing left. What have I done? What have I done? And I was like so distraught, so affected by this as a little child. It's like, I have to get it back. I have to get it back. And I was so determined. I was like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I have to. Alright, I can get this money back. They haven't put the money back at the bank yet. It'll be later, you know, I have plenty of time. I can get all the money. I can get the money. I just need a little more time. I can get the money. Right? That's literally what my little 11-year-old pocket knife blade mind was thinking at the time. It's like, I can do it. It'll be alright. So I have this great master plan, right? I swear off pizza. I'm like, no more pizza. I can't afford it right now. Just can't. And I go back uptown. There's no pizza. I don't buy any booster packs, but I start basically, I still play the games, and the games that I'm playing for, we still play for cards, right? So I'm trying to play and maybe get a decent card. I never gambled too much. It was like an okay card for like a decent card, and I negotiated that, and I won a few matches. I didn't win them all, but I won a few matches. But here's the real way that I started making my money back. Yeah, that card stores love seeing you every day until this part of it happens, which is basically I tried to sell some of my cards to the card shop owner. It's like, all right, so, you know, I bought all these cards from you. The street value is around this. Like, you're selling this card for $36. You know, I'd like $35 or something. I'm like, I'll give you a deal. And the guy's like, no, you're crazy. I have my overhead here. I have my employee costs. Like, I can, for all 5 of your holographic cards, I'll give you $6. I was like, $6? No, like, these cards have value. It's like, there's no way I can do that. That's crazy. I needed to get my money back, you guys. I had to do this before my parents found out. This was killing me. So I couldn't take his offer. And so I knew all of the cards that he was selling. I walked out front, and I just remember this, like, the heat's beaten down. Like, you can smell the asphalt. It's just like one of these really hot days. Like, just, oh man, out there in the sun, with the road and everything. And a kid and his dad approaches the store, and I stop him. I pretty much like kind of stretch out in front of the door. I was like, hey guys, hey, so yeah, what are you up to? You going in there checking out some cards? Like, what's the deal here? It's like, oh yeah, I want a Ninetales. I was like, you do? All right, here's the thing. I've got a Ninetales. The card store has a Ninetales too. The card store is trying to sell their Ninetales for $14, and I don't need my Ninetales anymore. I need some money. And I'm talking eye to eye with like another 10-year-old that I don't know, and his dad is right there. I stopped them both. And I was like, alright, so he offered me $5 for my Ninetales, I'll be honest. You know, it's 14 bucks inside. He gave me 5. Why don't we, you know, I'll come up a little bit. If you give me $9, I'll give you the card that you're looking for. And the kid looks up at his dad like he just sees this dream, right? He was just like, he's like, oh my god, that's it. And the dad couldn't care less. He's like, what is this? What is it? What it has, where I have these. I found these while I was unpacking recently. This is perfect for this story, though. Alright, let's find. Look at this. There, we still got them. We gotta get rid of some of them, but we still have some of them, right? So he picks it up. He's like, what is this? It has Ninetales on it. That's the thing. It's just this little dog with a bunch of tails. Okay, that's what we're here for. You say it's $14 inside. It's 14 bucks inside. You're gonna do it for 9. All right, sure. So the kid's pleading with his dad. The dad pays me. I give the kid the card. They walk away. They don't even go into the card shop. I'm like, this is gonna work. This is absolutely gonna work. This is good stuff. And then, all right, well, since we got these right here, whatever, we're gonna use them as part of the video, part of the story. So I got really good at learning the value of cards, and I started trading for them. You guys know what that is, right? First edition. Aw, yeah. I'll never forget the kid that had this. This kid did not want to part with this, man. I just kept having to pile on holographic after holographic because I knew this thing had value. But I eventually traded him like 8 cards. I ended up getting that one in particular. And I was hanging out at the card shop. I was selling him outside. I was selling him in the basement. I was trading nonstop. I was trading not at school, but like to all the people I knew because we all had Pokemon cards. That was the thing. And I just kept growing and growing and growing, expanding my collection, and then also selling it. And every day that I did this, I biked on home, pizzaless, hungry, no Dr. Pepper in my system, and I just put the next dollars, you know, back up over there in the little cubby. So, and then the next day I went out and I did the same kind of thing, and I was playing games against people that I was certain I could win, you know, 1 or 2 cards here, and apparently I actually didn't remember this until 2 years ago when I had my parents do a stream with me. I was over at their house for Thanksgiving, and I was like, you know what, guys, let's just put you on stream, and they're gonna ask a bunch of embarrassing questions, and you just answer them, like, do whatever. And it was actually fantastic. Like, we had a really good time, and we told tons of stories about the family. It was like a 3-hour stream. The entire thing is on YouTube. Just scroll through. You can see my mom and dad talking about all this stuff. Well, we're telling this story because they think it's hilarious. And it, you know, it gets much better when we finally get to me giving back the money to my parents. Well, one of the parts I didn't remember about this story that my mom had to tell me is that apparently little 11-year-old Blade Boquest, not even Blade Boquest at the time, just little pocket knife Blade, thought it was a really good idea to leave the house like this. Do you trust me, Mom? Do you trust me? Mom, do you trust me? I'm going somewhere. But do you trust me? You trust me, right? Okay. Goodbye. And I left the house every day saying that because I was like, I want to tell you something, but I can't. I can't tell you something, but do you trust me? And she's like, yeah, sure. And I don't remember this, but apparently I was like so proud of myself, starting to get my life fortune back, that I couldn't keep it to myself. I couldn't keep it to myself at all. And so I guess I just kept doing that. It's pretty crazy. So you gotta watch the retelling of this story with my parents there, because it's amazing. But the other thing I was able to do is I was able to figure out when some of the booster packs had holographic cards in it. Because I was around these cards for a long time and I kind of focused on them. I've always been good at figuring out systems, right? So looking at these cards, I realized that it's just a tiny bit thicker around than the normal cards. No, I don't have my channel. You know, if you need to kill me, you can kill me. But yeah, so it was a little bit thicker, and I realized that I could actually just bend it a little tiny bit inside the package of the booster pack, and I was almost able to guess like 70 to 80% of the time if there was a holographic card in the pack. So my mom, I actually had her like drive me around to, we would go to like 3 or 4 stores like Toys R Us and Target, and I would just go through all the packs. And some stores, like I would like, it's not like I was listening to it, but I would like feel it, think about it. And we left, you know, without buying any in some stores. In other stores, we were like, okay, this one, this one, this one I want. And I got really good at figuring out where the holographic cards were. So I was able to increase my inventory. I was able to play good strategy games with the Pokemon cards and win the cards at that point. I was also very good at understanding the value of all of the cards because I was literally in the midst of the market solving all of these, you know, seeing the supply and demand from the card shop to the players and what their values were, being able to negotiate trades, and then of course negotiating money back from the trades that I made. And every day I did this, I just kept stocking the money that I made right back into the little cubby. And then finally, it's time to put the money back in the bank. It's the end of summer, all that stuff is done, and you know, it's all good. I absolutely was scared stiff on spending all of my money on gambling, basically is what it was. Gambling for holographic cards. It's probably one of the reasons I don't enhance like a lot of players. You know, I never gamble at all. Learned my lesson as a child. I make the joke all the time that most money I've ever lost in a casino, and I have gone, even Corrosion in chat right now, I've gone to Atlantic City with him. Other friends I've gone to Atlantic City with, I've been to Vegas. Most money I've ever lost in a casino is a quarter. That's because I had a hole in my pocket. So I just don't gamble. I try to go for the more reliable, sure thing, because I know it preys off of the vices of men wanting something for nothing, and I realize that's not an inherently good trait, and I've like removed it from myself. It's not something I'm interested in. But as a kid, I had to learn the hard way. And so, you know, I was not buying any more booster packs outside what I was certain that I could resell. And by the time that I needed to actually give the money back to my parents, it was both of them. It was my mom and it was my dad, and they go to my room, like, go ahead, honey, get the money. And I didn't realize they already knew something was up, right? But of course, if I'm leaving, do you trust me? Do you trust me? You know, any parent is gonna be like, what the hell is happening right now? So they go in, like, they're both waiting in my room. I'm going in there to get everything, and I get this stack. I never looked at it once, so it must have been all out of order anyway. And so I end up, I bring it all out. I try straightening it up real quick. I'm so nervous. So nervous. I'm like, I'm sure adrenaline bursting, and I give it to my mom, and I'm just like waiting, like just completely, like just waiting to see how much trouble am I in, what is happening, what is going on. And my mom looks at it, she flips through it, she looks at my dad, he kind of looks through it a little bit. They're both like raising an eyebrow. And they just say, honey, is there something that you would like to tell us? And I full on broke down. I'm like, Mom, I'm so sorry. I was just trying to buy another booster pack, and I was grabbing my BMX. I went up, I got my Dr. Pepper, my pizza. I just kept buying booster packs. I couldn't stop, but I kept getting more money out of my closet. I kept grabbing a 10 and a 20. I spent it all, Mom. Oh, I spent it all. I'm so sorry, Mom. I didn't mean to. I spent my entire life savings. I was broke. But I hit rock bottom, and I knew I could get it back, and I was determined. So I went out, I started selling the cards, and like, I'm just going a mile a minute in the story. It was like, and I got some money back, and you know, here it is, and I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And I was like, I must have been crying, I don't even know. I was horrified by this whole situation. And I'm like, I'm caught red-handed, everything is over, my life is ruined. And she's like, I'm like, please don't be mad at me. Like, mad at you? Honey, you, what? You spent all your money, you got it back with, we're amazed. There's $800 here. You had $300 just a few months ago. What have you been doing? And I was like, you're not mad? Like, she's like, no, you're an amazing boy. I'm like, you're not mad? I couldn't even fathom it, honestly. I was so scared. It's like, that's great. Yeah, so I kind of spent all of my money. Like, I had $0, and it was horrible. And I had a little quarter life crisis there. And I stopped buying pizza and Dr. Pepper, and I went out every day trying to basically make these deals, and I sold as many as I could. I still had half of my collection, which was sitting over there. I never ended up selling the rest of it. And I told them the whole story. I had to come clean. They thought it was, like, incredible, right? I told them all the details of it, and they said they thought something was up anyway. Well, later on, my mom helped me put pre-made decks on Penny Saver. And so I made a little business when I was like 11 years old. I don't even think I was 12 yet, where I was selling pre-made packages of cards and stuff for about 50 bucks, which is a lot of money for sure. But they sold decks that were like crap for 15 bucks at Toys R Us, so I gave them a lot better stuff. And yeah, I made quite a bit of money there as just a little kid. But there you go, guys. It's one of my top 25 exceptional stories of my life. How I took the money out of my account to try to save it for Y2K, fell to the indiscretions of childhood, and just was like just kept buying these things. I was like, I gotta keep seeing if maybe there's another holo. Ran out of money, full on panicked, broke down, and was sheer determination, just like that got me through it, and somehow found a way to make back everything I made and more than double it. And then on top of that, still keep more than half. There's like 2 Charizards over there. The first edition Venusaur. There's probably like another 30 or 40 holographic cards there. But like, I don't know. It's not, they just sit there. It's like storage at this point and memories. But yeah, guys. And I thought I was dead for sure when I was finally caught. But fortunately, it worked out. I don't know what the reaction would be if there was only like $50 at the end of all of it. But I was a very diligent saver up until that point. I mean, I saved allowances, which was like a few bucks. I saved all my birthday money. I picked up quarters. I was a little kid that like checked the vending machine to see if there's a quarter. I kept it, and the $348 or whatever it was actually the product of like my entire life. I remember saving pennies as a 3 and 4-year-old and stuff, and growing that. And it was really exciting to see it grow with interest rate. But so I really was diligent on that up until I like just fell to the indiscretions of gambling, and then learned my lesson young, thankfully. So there you go, guys. That is the story, Pokemon card story. I think it's